We are live.
Hey, welcome back to Hey Hey Sports, episode 3. It is June the 5th, 2025. And we're going to enlighten you again on our topics. Thank you for the followers that are out there. We're getting slight traction. But if you know people, pass the word along. We are Hey Hey Sports, episode 3. And before we go any further, we're making reference to the Cubs and the Washington Nationals. Cubs are winning 2-0 in the second inning. Again, another series that they should win, but they didn't do too well last night. So hopefully they get a W tonight. Some topics we're going to talk about. We will spend some time more on some Cubs stuff towards the end, but we will get you caught up on some very important other major four sports stories. Tonight is the NBA first round, and we don't like talking about the NBA, but we'll make reference to the NBA. The only reason we're making reference to the NBA,
That's the finals.
it's the finals, and hopefully it will set a record tonight. And the record tonight will be the lowest NBA watched game since 2003 when the Spurs played the New York Nets. That was the lowest rating. I certainly hope that this is the lowest rating. Nobody outside of OKC and Indiana are jumping in a car and going, boy, I got to go to a bar tonight to watch this NBA series. It's not like when Bird and Magic played. It's not like when Ewing and Jordan were playing. You know what? Tyrese Halliburton and the other guy from OKC, the MVP, Shea Gilchrist Alexander, is that his name? I don't know. But this is it. This is where we're at. And from a betting line, the Pacers are almost getting 4-1 tonight. And I think that's personally a steal. But
Who do you think wins the whole series?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I'd like to see Indiana.
I hope Indiana wins, but I don't care. It's not going to be, like I told you yesterday, I think we were talking over dinner. Next year, it's not going to be the Pacers and OKC. It's market teams next year, I'm telling you right now, because right now, Adam Silver is being talked off a ledge, knowing that it's the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder in his sport, and that's the championship game. And that's all I'm going to say, okay? And unless you're a diehard Pacer, nobody is jumping in their car right now, going to a sports bar and go, I got to get a good seat for this game. Nobody, okay? So, wait a minute, I'm starting to yawn because I'm talking about the NBA. As I said before, the NBA is a cure for...
What if it was the Bulls? Would you care if it was the Chicago Bulls?
Not with the guys they got. I couldn't even tell you who's there. I couldn't even tell you their starting lineup.
I know Josh Giddey. I know Kobe White.
You only know Josh Giddey because he made that Hail Mary shot.
He never should have made it. Let's be real.
And that got him as a... We have now spent... We've been on the air 4 minutes. We have spent 4 more minutes of more NBA than I intended to talk to. So we're pulling...
Hey, year and a half because 500th career RBI.
We're pulling the plug on that, and the Cubs are now winning 3-0, but I'm pulling the plug on that, okay? I'll kind of defer you to the hockey. NHL Stanley Cup took place last night. Edmonton, who I'm rooting for because, you know, it's... In the Stanley Cup, it's the original 6 or a Canadian team. Those are the only teams that deserve to win a Stanley Cup. If you don't have cold temperatures or snow, you shouldn't even have a franchise. So last night, Edmonton beat the Florida Panthers 4-3 with 2 minutes left in the overtime. Had to be good for watching. I bet more people in the United States of America watch that game than what will take place tonight in the NBA.
Well, yeah, because it's an American team versus a Canadian team, and I know I think that's kind of cheap and bogus considering it's the NHL and it's not an international game, but it's not the Olympics, not the Four Nation tournament, but that's how some people do look at it.
And the other thing that bothers me about these championships, multiple days in between games, play. Get it over with. We're stretching basketball and hockey out till damn near July. Okay? I'm being sarcastic, but we're in June already. And then they turn around in late August or September for training camp.
Yeah.
So, let's hope the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup. And that's the way it should be. Again, original six. And the Canadian teams, again, our comment section is open. Feel free to throw something our way. And hopefully we get some viewers out there because we want to keep this going. We got a little bit more traction, and we thank you for that. Okay? As usual, bulk of the stuff is the Cubs and Bears. Not much Bear talk this week. Everything's a little slow. ESPN and the talking heads have been talking about, is it going to be a success? What is going to be a success for Caleb Williams? We've argued privately about this. We're not going to get into that right now. I am just preparing myself for the worst. Okay? I don't think the Bears are going to get the 8.5 wins that the wise guys in Vegas say.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you immensely.
And again, but I will say this. For as bad as the Bears are going to be, Caleb Williams will never, ever, ever, ever be the reason that the Bears, they are going to protect their number one pick.
Oh, God, here we go. Okay, great. Okay.
And
here comes the doom and gloom already.
And once again, I should have had my number 10 jersey on, okay? Because as I said before, and I'll say it again.
Well, he's not here. I love him too. I like Mitch too. He's not here.
But they ran him off because they got to get the new toy. Okay.
Oh, Dustin Fields sucked.
Speaking about new toys, a kind of a Cub related here is I am already fed up with Pete Crow Armstrong.
He's at bat right now.
He's up to bat right now. Okay. And I did a little bit of research before we came out here because, as I said before, he's Adam Dunn with more speed. And if you don't know what that means, Adam Dunn was the strikeout machine for the Chicago White Sox. He had more homers than singles in a year. He had more homers than singles. Currently, Pete Crow Armstrong, who now has 2 strikes on him, okay, and I got to refer to my notes here real quick.
He's got 1 strike on him.
Pete Crow Armstrong has more strikeouts than hits.
Whoa, it's only 1 strikeout, though.
Okay. He is striking out more than he's getting hits. Everybody's seen him run around the bases, do the utter thing, do the hand thing, okay. Defensively, yes, he's doing a great job in the outfield.
He's 3rd in the RBI ranking.
Okay. But according to, the great Brian Kenny, RBIs mean nothing. Okay? And just play the game. Play the game. As I said before, if I was pitching against him and he hit a home run and he ran around the bases.
So you want your own guy to get drilled in the head because you don't like what he did?
No, but what I'm saying is he needs, as Kramer said in the episode, I own that inside of the plate. I throw one high and tight and knock him on his ass.
I don't. It must be a generational thing because I think that's completely very stupid.
And yes, it is a generational thing. He's getting people in the seats and young people
Who's
who...
calling?
Huh?
Who's calling it?
We got maybe I think the Cubs are on line one. I'm gonna get it so it's not being bothered with us. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think.
Okay. That was Ricketts. Ricketts was calling.
It was my buddy George. It was
Okay.
George McCaskey.
Okay, Ricketts
Buddy George.
Ricketts was calling, and he just said, quit. He was watching our telecast, and he said, quit ragging on PCA. Okay, he has a name, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Well, yeah, but it's simpler if you just say PCA. Like Oklahoma City Thunder, OKC.
These people with one names bother me. You know, no. Or you put your initial in front of your name. You know, why is it Stephen A. Smith?
Screaming A. Smith.
Okay, no.
There's a, I can think of A when I think of Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. You know what?
But anyway, and Pete Crow Armstrong made it out there, so he still has more strikeouts than hits. The Cubs, as we speak, because earlier today, apparently, I'm clueless about what goes on west of the Mississippi. I guess that minor league team with the red and the foliage with the birds, they
half games out.
They won a game this afternoon. They play again tonight. So if the Cubs don't win this game, they could lose a game and a half, and they would go from 4 to 2.5 games, 2.5 game lead. But once again, it's kind of the fool's paradise. The Cubs are 15 games over 500.
Yeah, they're only 4.5 games up in first place.
Well, it could only be, if they lose this game, they could only be 2.5 games.
Well,
and everybody's like, "Yay, the Cubs are." Again.
Colin Ray is pitching.
Again, we got to slow the roll. Yes, take it for what it is. But these are games they should be winning. They should not be splitting with the Nationals. They should not be sweating it out against the Rockies.
No, they did.
Okay, they go to Detroit this weekend, which the White Sox beat Detroit.
Well, they beat one game against Detroit.
He beat right and
beat one game against Detroit.
And today I'm wearing my Cubs hoodie, but I'm also sporting the Eastern Illinois University Panthers hat because the shortstop for the Detroit Tigers is Trey Sweeney, who went to Eastern Illinois University, who basically had to relegate Javi Baez to play another position. And Javi Baez is now playing center field, the same position Pete Crow Armstrong plays.
Well, that goes back to your 15-year-old argument of what you said about Starlin Castro.
I believe anybody who can play shortstop can play center field.
And you said that.
Not vice versa, because you got to, you catching the ground ball at 100 miles an hour is a big deal, okay? But I said Starlin Castro, when they started to weed him out of shortstop, Starlin Castro could have played center field for Chicago Cubs. Okay.
We have his double-A bobblehead back here.
I believe the guy in Pittsburgh.
Was it Reynolds?
No, the shortstop. I get Ellie De La Cruz and the other guy, the other tall, lanky guy with the dreadlocks.
Is he in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, what's his name? It's not. He started as a shortstop. He's playing center field now for Pittsburgh. What's it? I can't think of his name.
Oh, McCutchen.
Not McCutchen. Orlando Cruz or.
Well, Andrew McCutchen is playing center field. Is he not?
He's not playing center field. I think Andrew McCutchen's playing one of the corner positions in
I
Pittsburgh.
thought he was playing center field.
No.
Okay.
But again, sorry for not knowing who that is. But guys can play. If you can play shortstop, you can play center field. Okay, and and Pete Crow Armstrong, and they're batting cleanup. He's batting cleanup, which means the Cubs don't have a cleanup hitter.
Not a definitive one, no.
When I think cleanup hitters, I think Hank Aaron.
Well, they don't have Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron
or Sammy Sosa,
Ernie Banks,
Billy Williams.
Billy Williams batted third.
Okay, well, you could still... That's only one away from cleanup. You could still put him there, too. It's only one away.
those guys, those are cleanup hitters. I don't see Pete Crow Armstrong being a cleanup hitter. Okay. But he's swinging the bat like a cleanup hitter.
So why not bat him fourth? Who are you going to put fourth? Seiya? Are you going to put him there?
I would put Seiya.
But then the entire argument is, Seiya Suzuki, he's a DH nowadays. He plays right field. He's a DH or this or that. I think that is in itself meaningless. That's Christopher Morel. That's a Christopher Morel argument. Morel is so good. Christopher Morel was so good, so dominant, so physically imposing. They needed to find a position for him because he just needs to play. And then he went to third base. Oh my holy God, was that?
How can you, in your right mind, bring up Christopher Morel during our podcast? How can you even bring him up and make reference to him?
Well,
he was a disaster.
Well, there was, and again, following our tradition on this program, we're not going to say their name, but there was a very large broadcasting company in the great city of Chicago, because they could say whatever it is that they want. They were the first ones to say play Christopher Morel at third base. They were the ones to say put him at third base.
He was a disaster. Okay. And
God forbid you put Nick Madrigal at third base, considering he was a third baseman.
I mean, if they were taking public participation to help pack up boxes and put it on the moving van, I would have been the first in line under the Christopher Morel regime.
Abysmal.
He was bad. So he's done, and we hope never to bring his name up ever again. But
is he?
Once again, but in all reality, the Cubs are still in first place. They play Detroit. If I read the things right, Detroit has the best winning percentage in Major League Baseball, of all Major League Baseball. Okay, so we'll see what happens. They go to Detroit, and for a 3-game series, and hopefully the Cubs could come out of it. And we'll see what happens. Okay, I mean that would be from 1908. That would be a World Series repeat of 1908. Was it the?
What do you mean?
Cubs and the Tigers in 1908?
Yeah, 1940, yeah. 1907 and 1908, yes.
So that would be a wonderful, wonderful...
also 1945.
And I hope that the place fills up and it's it'll be a good baseball. Just hope to see good baseball no matter how.
Okay, now I'm tempted. Who's a better third baseman? Carmen Fanzone or Christopher Morel?
I'm going Carmen Fanzone because he can play the trumpet. There was no redeeming quality about Christopher Morel. Zero. None. Carmen Fanzone at least... And he played the national anthem one time at Wrigley Field. But I think they eventually moved Carmen Fanzone from third base to second base. For a brief period of time. But, again, no more references to those 3 letters. Where they bounced the ball and put me to sleep. We're not making reference to them, and no more references to Christopher Morel. The White Sox, news on the White Sox front. Jeremy Ishbia, I believe, if how you pronounce his name. He will be the majority owner of the Chicago White Sox in 2029. I know that's 4 seasons away. But you got to wonder why that's going on. You wonder if
they're not getting that stadium.
If that's the... Is he going to get the...
Pete Crow Armstrong with an amazing play in center field.
I'm going to continue on. Is that going to give him maybe a backdoor deal where he's going to privately... Because he's a billionaire, a multi-billionaire. Could he be forking money in to a new White Sox stadium where the taxpayers and the city and the state don't have to jump in? Maybe if he's going to be the private guy, he might do the whole Al Davis thing. It's all private money, it's my money. and you find to get a return, maybe, I don't know. Is it a way to keep the White Sox here? But a lot of people thought, because he has franchises in other cities, that he would move the White Sox. I think that would be a disaster if you move the Chicago White Sox out of Bridgeport, and I don't think it would ever happen. But I do see him maybe orchestrating.
See, my thing is, they already got a stadium not too long ago. So now here they are, what, 35 years later?
Well, no, it's only been 20 or 25 years.
No, that ballpark is 30 years at least.
I don't know, because it just got paid off, and I think maybe it was a 30-year loan. I don't know.
Because my problem is, what happens another 30-year down the road?
So 30 years would have been
1990.
1995.
Yeah.
Were they playing in 1995?
Yeah, the new ballpark, yeah.
But new stadiums are built out. They're blowing stadiums up all the time. Now, granted, some are much older than the existing.
See, but my other thing of it
guaranteed rate field.
And again, this goes back to what we've said on previous, installments here. The south side of Chicago really isn't that bad. There's sections that, you could spend an entire day there and have a very fun.
No, don't get me started, because you know what? And I'm gonna say it. St. Louis ain't that comfortable to go to neither.
No, it's not.
Okay, and everybody goes, and people say, well, they compare, south side of Chicago. St. Louis, Missouri is, as I said before, St. Louis is not a destination.
No,
you got the Arch.
Yeah.
You got the Arch, and you got some ice cream that they call a concrete thing. If your city is raises the flag because they got an Arch
and ice cream
and hard ice cream, okay, and that's really all you got to,
And the Budweiser breweries, which are closing.
That's it. Okay, they got the Hill. Chicago's got Little Italy.
They got a lot of Italian neighborhoods.
I'll put up Taylor Street and the Rosebud against anything on the Hill. Charlie Guido's and Zito's and all those other places that end with O's. I don't really care. Okay? Go to Taylor Street and get on an Al's Italian Beef. Okay, again, we're throwing names out here, and no one's cutting us any checks. Okay? But we're just throwing that out there.
They're more than welcome to.
Yeah. St. Louis, there's no redeeming quality. As I said before, take the Arch out of St. Louis.
You got
Topeka, Kansas. Plain and simple.
And we've said that here. We've said that to people that we know personally, and they get very offended at that.
Yeah, they get nutty.
And I even go one step further. Missouri is not an SEC team.
Yeah, when we get rolling with the college football stuff, these people who say Mizzou, no, they're about as far away from the SEC as possible.
Didn't they get their asses handed to them in the March Madness tournament? To who was it? By a bunch of guys who were initially just playing Division II basketball because of the NIL transfer portal.
That had to be Drake.
Yeah, they lost to Drake.
Drake lost all those Division II kids. Okay, in Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about the love for Missouri and how great their athletic program is.
How the great St. Louis Blues been doing lately.
Okay. So, again, that gets my fur flying when we talk.
St. Louis is so great, but they can't have an NFL team. All the St. Louis Battlehawks. Oh my God, it's the Battlehawk. St. Louis Battlehawks. You mean a bunch of guys who can't even make a Chicago Bears practice squad? That's what you're gonna get excited over? Really?
Yeah. And when they got to keep throwing this soccer crap at me,
nobody cares.
You want to know something? Nobody cares about soccer in the United States of America.
Nobody cares.
We have 360 million people. We get beat by the Netherlands and Antilles, who have as many people as the state of Rhode Island. We have 380 million people. Half of them are males in this country. So that's 190 million people. You're telling me we can't find 11 people, 11 males,
who are good
out of 190 million who can beat the Netherlands and Tillies in soccer. Don't tell me this. I'm tired of this.
They don't have an NBA team.
No.
They don't have an NFL team.
So, yay, you got attendance in soccer. Nobody cares.
It's not going to bring back the Rams.
Okay. St. Louis, for what they say, it's a sports town. No, it might be a baseball town. It's not a sports town.
They like the Cardinals, and they're struggling with attendance currently.
Because they're fair weather. I don't know how we went off the rails here, but Cardinal fans are only visible when they're winning.
They're loud and proud when they're winning. When they're in second place and they're 4 games out of first place.
And the other thing is, when they're in the Cardinal uniform, that player's great.
Okay. Oh, okay. So we are having this conversation.
The minute they leave,
The minute Albert Pujols left, they were saying things we can't even say here on this program.
yes, but they get we got this guy.
And they take credit for everybody. Well, Bruce Sutter has more saves as a Cub than he does as a Cardinal.
And we'll go on, and I'm going to put the kibosh to that because that could be a whole weekend show for us.
Oh yeah, it will be.
No, not just a half an hour show. We can go an entire weekend to debunk this nonsense. Okay, but once again, now it is true. The Cardinals, if the Cubs lose today, and mark this date down. Okay, tomorrow when you go to work, if the Cubs were to lose, and
Well, they're winning currently.
okay, but if the Cubs were to lose and the Cardinals swept the doubleheader against Kansas City and they're 2.5 games out, just count how many more people are coming out of witness protection that are Cardinal fans, because all of a sudden they're going to be chirping. And they only chirp. And don't give me this crap that Cardinal fans are not haters.
Oh, yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Oh, you are, yeah.
Because you're not a real fan. If you don't hate your rival, you're not a real fan.
No,
Here at the mansion, we hate the Cardinals.
Openly.
We're not going to say, if the Cardinals are in the World Series against an American League
God, no.
Canadian team, we are rooting for the American League Canadian team. We're not going to sit there and go, oh, geez, they're in the division. Yay. No.
So the Montreal Expos come back, but they're in the American League.
Yes.
And the Cardinals and that American League version of the Expos are playing.
Whatever.
Or whatever it may be. 'Cause I'm not cheering for them either.
But everybody goes, and then these people who say, when the Cubs were in the World Series, Cardinal fans.
No, you weren't.
You were not rooting.
No, you weren't.
You were not.
We have relatives who were White Sox fans from Chicago, and they were not cheering for the Cubs at all.
No. Because we're not haters. No.
Yes, you are.
You guys are miserable. You're more. Here's the deal. You're worse haters because you try to hide it.
Just be upfront.
Just be upfront.
Just be upfront.
We got a couple minutes here left, and I know you don't want to touch this, but your boy allegedly is signing a 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's not an improvement from what they had. He's 42 years old. What is he, 41, 42 years old?
I don't know. You keep reminding me how old he is.
Well, that's not an improvement. So you have Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. You let them go, and you bring in this sideshow.
Well, I don't know. I looked at the stats right before we came on the air. The year before he got hurt, Ron completed 65% of his passes. Okay. Now, I have not looked, and he threw.
Well, he's supposed to. He's the 4-time MVP, is he not?
Okay, but I haven't looked to see where that ranked in. He had 500. He had 500 attempts, so it wasn't like he was 6 out of 10.
Yeah, but no one on that Jets team liked him.
Okay.
No one on that Jets team took him seriously.
That's not the point.
Yeah, if you're the quarterback, your entire gimmick is that you are a leader of men.
The point of the matter is, could he still play?
No.
Well, we're going to find out.
I don't think he'll finish the season. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. I don't think he'll finish the season.
So I would, and I was trying to see what his 1-year salary was, but we couldn't.
It's probably not even posted yet.
It's not divulged yet at this point in time. And Cubs are still winning 3-1. It's the third inning, still a long way to go. Looks like Mr. Coffey threw somebody out from left field. That would be Ian Happ, as we referenced to him here as well. So our time is about up for this week.
Also, I want to acknowledge 15, actually, no, not 15. 9 of the Chicago Cubs have been posted on the All-Star ballot.
that is just.
I just want that to be acknowledged.
But it's not like the old day where you used to get that cardboard thing and you have to punch the hanging chads and send it in. This way is stupid. I think you got to get the ones from the ballpark. You take your little pen, you punch that little rectangle square, and away you go.
I did that for Rizzo. I took like 30 of them and I punched them all.
So I think we covered everything. Again, follow your best sports teams that you like. Be honest with it. Again, feel free to make a comment. We will post this within the hour. And again, we are Hey Hey Sports, episode 2 and...
Episode 3.
Or episode 2. Episode 0 was the pilot.
Oh, so
if people are looking for this particular one, we are episode 2.
sorry, my bad. Okay, signing off.
Good night.
Good night.